Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Can we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Where is it?
United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's do a roll call.
Audrey Lynn, Hurston Jane, Megan Levine, Ann Markoulis,
Angela Ramo.
Maria Venuto.
Leah Leone.
Maureen Jimenez.
Okay, and then we'll move to approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion? Ann and Megan, any comments on the minutes? All in favor of approving the minutes? Okay, that's 7. Committee reports. First up, we have audit. Any news on that?
Okay, so I just received last night the audit report that the internal auditors did in the fall on purchasing. So I have to review it and speak with them about that report, and that report will be presented to the audit committee with the risk assessment report that they're going to probably finish up coming into the district. I believe tomorrow is the last day in the district. Okay, so then once they have the risk assessment report, we will get a date for the audit committee, okay, probably a Zoom, and he'll go over the 2 reports during that meeting, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Policy committee?
Policy committee is going to be meeting tomorrow. Tonight is actually going to be the second reading of a new policy that's been required by the Department of Labor. Tomorrow we are going to be reviewing additional policies that are now required by districts as per Department of Labor, as well as required updates that are directed by NYSBA regarding some of our instructional policies, and we'll be looking at some of our local policies as well further.
Okay, thank you. And facilities report, Victoria?
Okay. So, what I have right now is to talk a bit about what's happening with the bond items that are being worked on and the 2 extensions. So, Landtech is a company that's doing our tennis courts. So, they started to work on the tennis courts again. They had to stop because there was like frozen mud. Okay, so they had to wait till that they were able to work again there. They're putting up the lacrosse nets on the field. They're doing as much as they can with the track. They can't put the track yet until the temperature is, I believe, above 45 degrees.
45 degrees for 5 straight days.
Right, for the track and for some, and another area. So they're working on that. In the high school, lockers, we were just testing the software for the lockers today, and if everything went well, the next step will be training for the administration at the high school so that they can start using the lockers. The PA system, also at the high school, most of the work is done on that. It will be completed within the next month or so. If you notice, they started the safety doors replacements in the high school. They're doing about 8 doors a night, so they should be done within a month at the high school, and then they'll move on to another building. Then for Daisy Extension, all the backfill is complete. The foundation wall has been poured, so waiting for the mason now to come and start working on the blocks, and the steel for that extension is being fabricated. And for landing, again, all footings and concrete have been poured. The elevator shaft wall is in place. Again, they're going to have the mason come and start working on the block wall. So I was told they're making good progress at Landing and Daisy. Again, everything the past month or so has been weather dependent. So it slowed them down a little, but once we get a nicer weather, they'll go back up full speed ahead. So that's what I have tonight on for the facilities.
Thanks, Victoria. Does anybody have questions on that?
Can I just add to that?
Sure.
And in regard to the athletic field, although it looks like it's done, there is still some work to be done. We also are awaiting the arrival of our new scoreboard, and that should be done within the next 3 to 4 weeks. We'll have a ribbon cutting so that spring sports can begin to play on our field. The ribbon cutting is set for March 19th at 4 p.m. There will be additional information out on our social media as well as our website, and the rain date will be March 20th. And hopefully we won't have 2 days of rain in a row. So stay tuned. Please look onto our website as we update information in regard to the actual ribbon cutting ceremony and its events. We're looking forward to that. Okay? Okay.
Okay, moving on. Okay, yeah, your report, Maria, you ready?
Okay.
All right.
All right, so superintendent's report. We are tonight presenting our next budget presentation. As you know that when we go through the budget season, there are a number of presentations at our meetings from January all the way through to the actual budget vote. I do want to let the community know that I will be working with some of my colleagues in Westchester tomorrow. We are working with the chair of the Senate Education Committee, again, advocating for changes in the foundation aid and changes in the proposal, the budget proposal made by the governor. Okay? And I will update the board as a result of that and probably put something out on our website so that the community is aware just where we stand with our foundation aid. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to our Assistant Superintendent for Business, Victoria Galante.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rihanna, and good evening, everyone. This is our second workshop for the 2024-2025 budget. And today we'll speak a little bit about state aid, which, as you just heard, Dr. Rihanna said they are working on that, so those numbers will probably change over the next few weeks. And then as far as the appropriation budget, we will show you the capital and the administrative component, and we'll talk about our reserves. So again, here's our state figures that we received last month from Governor's budget. And as you see, we did get a slight increase in our state aid, not as much as we have gotten over the past 3 years, because in the past 3 years, they were trying to make us get up to the 100% of foundation aid. So now that we have that for the 24-25 school year, the increase isn't as much as it was in the previous 3 years. Again, excess plus aid depends on all our special ed students and how they're. BOCES aid is an aid that is based on all the services we get through BOCES. We do get some aid back. Textbook, computer, library, all those aids are dependent on our enrollment. The higher our enrollment, the more aid we get. So they have not really gone up that much, and actually textbook aid has gone down a little bit. High tax aid, again, is on our special ed population. Building aid, again, it went down slightly, and some may be wondering with all the projects we're doing, why we're not getting building aid yet. It's early. I have a call to someone tomorrow because these numbers, I believe, don't include all the forms that were submitted in September for the work that's being done. So I have a feeling our building aid will be higher than it was projected on that run. And once again, transportation aid is based upon how much we spend in transportation. So the bottom line, you could see it's up, our state aid, but not by that much. So the first component that we're going to speak about is our capital component. And that has to do with operating our facilities, maintaining our facilities. Those are the first two lines. As you can see, once again, there are increases. We are trying to do more and more within district. In fact, our locker project, we ran all the lines for the IT to make smart lockers. It saved districts hundreds of thousands of dollars by having our own people do that. And and they did a great job, and we're very happy that they were able to get that done for us. Maintenance of plant, again, has to do with all utilities, and actually everyone knows utility going up. So we're hoping by maybe the 24-25 school years, we'll have that solar kicking in and help us with the utility charges that we're going to see. Refund on real prop taxes, those are your tax certs. And again, they've been on the lower side. I say that, even though it's over $500,000. There was a time where you paid your tax certs to the tune of almost $2 million, $1.8 million. So past few years, for whatever reason, some have said because of the reassessment that Nassau County did, it seems like not as many people are grieving whatever their taxes are. So that's what we're just bringing in. Same number you could see in 22-23, we just paid a little bit short of what we had budgeted for, so that was good. But now let's talk about the next three lines. Bond, principal and interest. That's your old bond. That bond is going to roll off in the 25-26 school year. You won't see that anymore. That's from your old bond. So really, that is almost consistent with this year's payment. Like I said, another 2 years, 24-25, you have a 25-26 payment, and that bond payment will be gone. Ban. Ban is what we did this year, the year we're in now. We didn't borrow to do all these bond projects. We did a ban, which means a bond anticipation note, which means we got the money we needed to pay for all the work that's being done throughout with the bond, but we're only paying interest. We're not paying principal. We didn't go out to bond yet. And in speaking with our financial advisor, he's advising next year to ban again and not to go out for the full bond until the 25-26 school year. There's advantages to that. We could start paying off principal interest, or we could just pay interest, depending what district feels like they want to do. And I have to say, the interest rate we got this year, when we borrowed, I believe it was $7.6 million going to bond projects. We had to pay an interest of 3.2%, which was fairly good interest rate for that. But we opened a special account. That account where that $7.6 million, we're getting 5.25 interest rate. So basically, we're covering our interest that we're paying on that band at this point in time. So actually, it's not costing the district really money to borrow. So I'm going out for another band next year is probably the way to go. And then bond the whole $30 million at one shot. That third line, energy performance, again, you have to pay for that. That is basically the same amount every year for 15 years. And all the energy savings that the district will recoup from all the solar and all the lighting and all the heating that they're doing will cover that $506,000 in payment. And then the last line is our transfer to capital, which we've been doing over the past few years. We take money and we try to target projects that are in almost an emergency state. Things that we know we need to replace. They're very important, like PA systems, fire alarm systems, things that are old and are kind of, at the end of life, and we try to target items like that. We do not have specific items yet for the 24-25 school year. We will view all that with our facility director, Dr. Rihanna, and the board before we present that to the public as to what we're going to be using that $1 million for. So, again, the projected budget for capital, which one, the 2025 school year versus the school year we're in now, is up, yes, but it's not up by that much, considering that we have more debt service we put on, and the energy performance. That's really what's driving increase. The other component is our administrative component, and that has all the particulars like the Board of Ed. They're part of that. All the things that the Board of Ed need. They go to their workshops. They have Board of Ed meetings. They have a secretary. So all that is in there. Again, a slight increase. District meeting, again, is part of the Board of Ed. All these meetings that we have. Superintendent. Now, I need to explain. Because it says superintendent, it's not just the superintendent that's getting all of that money. That's what her category is called. It involves not only her secretary, everything that is needed to run the superintendent's office, and that's what's included in that $402,000. Finances and business is where myself and all my business people, the business department get paid from, everything we need, all the, like our cluster, our state people that help us, things like that make that the business office needs to run. Auditing are all of our auditors, which amount to about 5 different auditing firms that we have come in and make sure that Dick is doing the right thing. And again, all of these have slight increases, nothing really significant. In fact, you'll say, well, how come finance and business is down? We have some new employees there at a lower salary than we had in the past, and that's sometimes what drives the line to be less than the year before. Treasurer, again, slight increase. We have a new treasurer, and they have their separate line with everything they need for their department. Tax collector, well, we were paying the city to collect our taxes, and we're in talk with the city about not having to pay them to do that anymore. Again, that law may change as we continue our conversation with the city, but for now, we took that money out. Fiscal agent is the gentleman, our finance advisor, who helps us to go out to borrow again for that ban that we're going to do in next year, probably in summer. Legal line is for all our lawyers that are involved, not only for legal matters, but also we have to have lawyers involved when we do borrow money. Okay, so that's another set of lawyers. But again, a lot of that is driven by what's happening in the district, if there are any lawsuits going on, or what we think we're going to need the lawyers for. So that's a slight increase there. Personnel department, again, a little bit less than last year. We have NUPL personnel working in the personnel department. So that's what drove that down a little bit. Records management is our registrar, who is known as our records management again. She's fairly new, so that lowered one a little bit. Public information, that's our person you see here with a camera at some point taking pictures for the district, throughout the district. We have someone in-house now. We've gotten away from BOCES, so we're able to save a little bit of money, having our own person on staff. Central printing and mailing, once again, just slightly lower. Okay, the next line, unallocated insurance. And I have talked about this at every meeting, and insurance rates are going up. They went up this year, and they continue to go up again, being driven by a lot of lawsuits for the Child Victims Act, by natural disasters, by cyber insurance, and things like that. We're getting approximately 18% increase in our insurance. What I'm hearing from my districts and my co-op is that they're ranging from anywhere from 16 to 22% increases. So all districts are seeing this increase. School association dues has remained the same. Administrative charges that we have to pay BOCES for right now, I believe I just that number in. This is just the actual number today, so I'll be changing that figure. It's not going to change by much. And then curriculum and development. Again, that line is up about $300,000, but compared to 2023 budget, actual budget, at that point we did not have all our coordinators on staff. So now we have all our coordinators. We have, has 2 assistant directors, so that kind of drove up that line, besides all the other things that are involved in that 2010 area. Supervision is our principals, assistant principals, and all that need to run. Again, not up by that much because we do have 2 new principals in 2 of the buildings, so that kind of evened everything out. So bottom line is, again, a slight increase from the 23-24 budget to the 24-25 budget. So reserves. So when we closed the books at the end of June in 2023, if you were able to listen to our auditor at that time, he did talk a little bit about this and the health of the district. And believe you me, this is what made us borrow money for a 3.2% rate in interest. They look at this. People who we borrow from definitely look at the health of the district. So all the reserves that we have, our tax cert reserve, again, you kind of like have to take that out of the mix with the only district on Long Island that has to have a tax cert reserve. But we do, and our auditors project out 4 years to make sure we have enough money in there just in case the tax liability does go up in future years. We want to make sure we have the money for that. ERS and TRS are the pension systems that we are able to put some money away in case they increase. In fact, our ERS did increase more than 2% for next year, which means that part of that, a little bit of that is going to be as part of our exclusion and our tax cap formula, and we haven't seen that since first year tax cap law. And then our capital projects. So with the increase in foundation aid over the past 3 years, we were able to capture some of that money and put towards our reserve capital projects, which was the direction that the board wanted to go in. Instead of spending it just to spend it, the idea was to try to capture some of that money, put it in a capital project, so we would be able to do more capital projects without going out for another bond. So if we use the middle column, this is what is in our budget now in 23-24. As you see, we didn't use a lot of our reserves. We didn't have to. We just used the reserves for Workman's Comp because we're self-funded, and we should use the reserve for that. And for our tax certs, again, we should use the reserve for that. That's what those reserves are for. So we use all of that $750,000 at the end of, when we close our books at the end of June of this year. That's the balance that the reserves will start with. If we have any more funds left, then we will see, with auditors' advice, we will see where and which reserves we put that money into. But if we don't have any funds left at the end of this year, then this is basically your balances at the end of 2024. So our next board workshop, our budget workshop, would be March 6th of 2024, next month. And we will go over our program component, and we'll have an update on state, because like Rana stated, and I was also told, we will be getting some type of an update within the next week or so. And we'll go over the tax levy for the district that will be reported at that time, because I have reported the Office of Controller by March 1st. We'll discuss that. Just want to say, at the end again of all these slides is the breakdown of what's in each one of the lines, like the A16 line, which is the facilities line. It consists of all these individual categories that make up the total in that line. And that's it tonight.
Before I thank you once again, I know your attention to these details are very important, and they've moved this district in a very positive direction. I thank you for this portion of the presentation, and I look forward to additional presentations. Just so that everyone is aware, two things we want to emphasize right now. We have not gotten the increases that we should have gotten, even if foundation aid formula stayed as it was. We are advocating very, very consistently, and the governor hears that our current budget impacts school districts in a very negative manner, and although we are getting some increases, it is not what we should have gotten if calculated appropriately. But then we asked the governor, and we continue to advocate for the new amended proposal to the budget to be consistent with last year's or current aid ratios, as well as understanding that a new formula must come into play. So we're asking for the 3% increase. We're also asking to return to safe homes for many districts who have gotten a significant decrease in state aid, and that we work on a formula that will appropriately provide for all districts in the state of New York and not just Long Island. Again, I thank you for keeping all of the issues in mind as you are beginning to construct a new budget for the 24-25 school year.
You're welcome. Does
Any
the board have
questions
any
from the
questions?
board?
Good. If anyone in the community has any questions, there's my email address. That's the best way to reach me, since I don't sit in my office all day long. But anyway, just email me, and I'll be more than happy to explain something or answer your questions. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Victoria.
Thank you, Victoria. Okay. So a lot of new and exciting things have happened in the school year, and one of which is the adoption of a new math program. And with that, I would like to first introduce Alexa Doshner, our Dr. Alexa Doshner, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction and Technology. Alexa?
Thank you, Dr. Rihanna. So tonight we will be going through our math curriculum, starting elementary level, but really looking at how there's a throughway all the way through the 12th grade. And it is my absolute pleasure to introduce for the first time our math coordinator, Mr. Anthony Allison. He's going to lead you through his presentation, and you'll have opportunity to ask questions at the end. Mr. Allison.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to, as Dr. Doshner gets the presentation up, I'd like to first off start by thanking the Board of Education for taking this opportunity and giving me this opportunity to showcase the wonderful world of math education here at Glen Cove. Additionally, I would like to say a thank you very much to the wonderful central office leadership team led by Dr. Doshner, Mr. DiNapoli, and Mrs. Galante, because for their support and foresight in allowing us to bring the Big Ideas math program and the very education programs we have and we see in the secondary level, our students and our community. And finally, I would be remiss if I did not thank the teachers, the fellow building administrators, my predecessor, Ms. Shannon, and most importantly, the families and students of Glen Cove. Because without their support and their buy-in, the successes that we are seeing would not be possible. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to start off by giving a little broad strokes to the Big Idea program and understanding why that program is benefiting us and our students. So before I start and talk about the Big Ideas program, when we look at any instructional program, what's most sought after is rigor and a love for learning. If we have those two components in anything, we will see success and growth for our students and our district. Understanding the first part of that is rigor. And in order for us to do that, we have to have a common understanding of what rigor means. And I know in educational circles, rigor can be commonly described as applying higher ordered thinking, creating lessons that aren't just merely memorization of facts, but it's application. In some circles, it's defined as hard, challenging, or the results of working through challenges differently. All those things are correct. They are part of rigor. But rigor for us is really composed of three subcomponents. The first is conceptual understanding. That's the first part of any program that you look at. Is conceptual understanding something that our students can achieve? Beyond that, we also look at, is there procedural skills built into the program that will allow our students to grow and show fluency in it? And the third part of that is, and the most important part of that, is there a way for our students to see a real-world application of that skill they're learning? Because it is proven that students connect, and anyone that connects with something will have long-term lasting growth. And that's why I feel the Big Ideas program is so important and so successful for us, because every one of the pieces of it models real-world application for our students. It hits the mark with giving our students a balance of aligned conceptual standards in a manner that focuses on a balanced approach where practice and application are at the heart of everything they do. They not only learn the skill, but they gain fluency, not just in basic concepts, but complex conceptual math. So what I'm going to show you now, and I'm going to ask my wonderful helper here. We do a lot of things cross-curricular in our coordinator suite. Ms. Poulos is going to help me. What I'm going to show you is a couple of samplings at different grade levels, what our students are doing, and the families have opportunity to partner with. So here text, and it's all grade level specific. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a couple of samples of what it looks like outside of just the classroom. So Ms. Poulos, could you click on, yes, great. Yes. Okay, maybe no. Hit yes again, click that one again. In any case, what I was going to show you gives an opportunity. There are so many things built into the program. It's not just the text. We know that our young adults are doing everything in a digital world. Excuse me. What I was going to show you was there's a component built so that things can be part of the learning process, where the homework, if they are confused, they can go on and see the same level of instruction or same examples so they can help their young children, whether it's at first grade, second grade, fifth grade. There are a lot of components built in to help parents who sometimes struggle with the new way that math is being presented. Beyond that, what I was also going to show you was math has to be fun, okay? We got here at a board meeting where someone was talking about what happened to the old days where math was fun. The great thing about Big Ideas, it combines fun and learning in one platform. Whether it's a math game they're playing or a sing-along song, those things that since walk away remember connected with the information. Are we going to try that again, Sue? Okay, so I'm going to skip past this. I gave you the short abridged version. If you want to hit play, this is an example of a homework problem.
Color the boxes to show how many. How many cars are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'm going to ask you, Ms. Doshner, at the bottom of the screen, there's an opportunity to click View this Spanish. Could you click on that? The great thing about this program is that okay, thank you. So you get the gist. The great thing about the program is it's designed for any student. Whether Spanish is the language or another one. Each student has their own login, and they can change it individually to the language of their choice so they can follow along. I know it's not an earth-shattering new concept, but it is for us in terms of getting it in the class, where the digital world is now just not in the English platform, it's in the multilingual. So let's talk a little bit of the conceptual connection. So what I'm going to show you is New York crosswalks. They're called the New York crosswalks. It really boils down, it's to the next gen learning standards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a snapshot of just the kindergarten curriculum. So I'm going to look at the next gen New York State standards, and I'm going to look at big idea, scope, and sequence. And what I'm hoping that you will notice is that here are the first couple of topics in just the kindergarten. So you're going to know about numbered names, being able to identify sequences, counting from 10 to 100 by tens or ones. They're going to compare numbers. We look at the scope and sequence for ideas. They have it broken down into 4 different chapters. Why is that critical? Because we're breaking down the material into manageable, bite-sized pieces for the students to be able to get conceptual understanding without getting overwhelmed. I can continue to go on and show you that the next one is understanding composition and decomposition. Big word, right? Means adding and subtracting. Well, here are 3 chapters that are designed just to focus on that. Once again, breaking down larger conceptual topics into manageable bite-sized portions for our students. We can go on and we could talk about describing and comparing measurable attributes. These are all part of the standards for New York State for the kindergarten curriculum. And there are 3 more chapters. It's not just one chapter designed to reinforce the material. It's deep, broken down material, manageable for our students to meet success. Once again, 3 topics there, 3 chapters that identify and get down into manageable portions for it. So one of the things that we have to look at is student work. If students are learning, what we should see is fun, exciting things happen in the classroom. Whether it's in math circles or math centers or projects where choice is available, where students pick, the topic is given. It seems like that particular student's dream house. The topic was about their dream house. They were able to, and it happened to be at the 3rd, 5th grade level, they were talking about area. They were talking about measuring and comparing, finding out the size of something. And they used a colorful way to do it. That's where it's fun. That's where it's noticeable. So now, in any program, you have to analyze and see, is it hitting the mark? So we're going to look at some student performance indicators. And there are 3 different areas that we can use. We could use the chapter assessments that we've created. So Big Ideas gave us some general guidelines. Our teachers have tweaked it to match for our students. What I really want to show you here is this is a clear indication of alignment across the district. These are assessments that are the same no matter what kindergarten class you go to, what 1st grade class, 2nd grade class, 3rd, 4th, 5th. It's a unified assessment with a unified rubric that they're all using. The good thing about it is if you look at the data, everything is pretty much aligned. We're all within 1 or 2 points or fractions of points, no matter what building end. That's a good indication. So you might argue and say, okay, great, but those are all district-created assessments. Okay, I'll give you that. Let's take a look at a 3rd-party vendor, our STAR assessment. And the reason why in these next 2 slides I'm going to show and landing it clearly right now in K-2 buildings, the STAR benchmarking window is still open until the 16th. So we don't have a good reflective window to show you. But let's take a look at Connolly, okay? And I'm going to show you, and I've highlighted two points. Compare, and this is a longitudinal study from when we go back to pre-pandemic 1920, right? So we see that in the fall, the numbers are great. We know what happened come March, right, of 2020, things dropped off. And the drop-off that you see indicated in this chart, no matter what district name you put on there, I'm sure they all saw very similar drops because of what the pandemic did to our students. Notable though, let's just go back to fall 2023. We're at in fall assessment, we're at 57. A year later, we're already trending up. And if you'd notice, the current winter benchmarking, we're already above where we were when we started. It's a clear indication that the students are progressing. Our teachers are actually using the program to its fullest benefit, and the students are starting to see success. I can take the word Connolly off, and I can put the word landing in there, and you see the same similar pattern. Once again, if we compare the starting point of fall 2022 to where we are in this for 2023, and we look at the winter benchmark, once again, an improvement. My guess is when the data is in for our K-2, we'll see a very similar indication where we're performed in 22-23, we're outpacing that. and where we go for the end of the year, if history shows forth and the program does what it's intended to do, we're going to see performance that does match a trend line up for our students. So you may argue, okay, it's a third-party vendor showing it. But where it counts is in state assessment, right? That's where everybody looks at the school report card. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and I'm going to move to our secondary level, because that's a nice indication, because you're going to see in the next slide, I know it might be a little blurrier, but this is a 5-year analysis of complete math district scores, going all the way back to 2016, 2017. You'll notice there's a year absent there, is the year right after when the state did not do assessment. What I do want to point out, and this is for grades 3 all the way through 8th grade. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to look a little bit more at our 22-23 data, okay? And I'm going to look at over the last 5 years. If you know the last 5 years, so 2016-2017 school year, you could see the number was 32%. Where we were last year, we're at 56%. That's a tremendous jump. Tremendous jump. And I put there, I put 4 indicators. And I want to show you those 4 indicators because despite what people might say, we're doing very well. And let's zoom into that data a little bit more. So I took the 7th grade math data. I think this math is very fitting because they're not just coming into middle school, they're not nervous about that transition, the curriculum is rigorous, and they're not worried about going to, in 8th grade, about whether they're going to be in the algebra, whether they're going to be in math, if they go to high school. I'm going to zoom in a little, that 56%, and just remember that number in your head, 56%. Let's break that number down. So using those same 4 indicators, okay, this is all provided from the state. If we look at other districts that have 60, 70% economic disadvantage, 40%. I don't know, my math, 56 beats 48. Let's look at average need district. These were all defined by the New York State, not by 54%. And we're outpaying them that. New York State as a whole, 52 to 56. So some of you might want to ask, well, there is that county data that shows an anomaly there. That's not really an anomaly, it's just we can't be compared to that. When you look at that, that is large districts, small districts, economically well-advantaged districts. Not your average, it's not comparing apples to apples. It's comparing apples to oranges, okay? If Nassau County was its own state, if Nassau County results were out, it'd be its own state, okay? So we're doing pretty good. If you can say 3 out of the 4 indicators as defined by New York State, we're beating, okay? I could drill down and disaggregate the information even more and talk about our ELL students and how well they're performing, okay? The reality behind it is we're bending in the right direction. We are moving in the right direction. And this is so important because it builds in for our secondary level. So in our secondary level, the 3 things that we're focused on right now, this year we're the next Algebra 1, so our 8th graders and 9th graders are working on that course, which is once again rigorous and putting them to the best, and putting out the best standards for our students. Next school year, we're going to be rolling out the next gen geometry standards. And the following year after that, in 25-26, we'll be rolling out the next Algebra 2 standards. So why are these things important? Well, because what we are looking to do for our students are make them college and career ready. That's a nice buzzword, but let's see what that means. We, for right now, a number of placement courses through College Board, whether it's statistics, where they can get 3 credits, Calc AB, Calc BC, computer science principles. We offer college credit courses. We work partnered with LIU hosts to all our students, high school credit as well as college credit. Okay, and we all know the importance of chipping away at that cost when they go to college. And at all levels, we offer honor courses, so to once again challenge our student. What you'll see in this presentation, that we're not just about the 4 years they're here, it's about life after Glen Cove and how we can set our students up for success. So some of the future plans that we're looking to continue to grow our math scores at that secondary level are new courses, college credit, building more college credit courses, growth in our computer science offerings. That's a big one. And I'm going to spend a little bit more time on that, but when we look at our new courses, what we're really talking about is bringing in or expanding program courses, looking at personal money management, financial literacy and readiness. And I'm sure you all saw there was a report recently or a news article recently about what Hampton Bays is doing. in terms of financial readiness and financial literacy, partnering with their local community to give their students real-world application. This is what we're looking to move continually for. As you can see, the number of courses there that we offer, I don't want to belabor the point, but what I really want to focus is on giving our students at the secondary level more opportunities, creating better opportunities for them to college credit, partnering with other colleges, not just LIU, but bringing in a college-level probability statistics course. We've started our web design program. Let's partner with a college and give our student an opportunity to get college credit for web design. Why is this important? Why is this important? Well, the state rolled out a 4-phase program for computer science and digital fluency. We're right now in phase 3, and we're doing a good job at elementary level implementing the digital fluency and computer science in our offerings of STREAM. What we're really looking at, as you can see, for our fall implementation, and we are ready for that. Our computer science programs that we currently offer all on computer science and digital fluency standards. Why am I making this a big push for our secondary levels? As you can see, top 5 jobs right here on the board for jobs of STREAM. These are jobs where, and I'll show you on the next slide, but 6-figure salaries, and it doesn't mean that they're going into private only. Some of these are public jobs. Whether they're a data science for a public or private, you're talking $98,000 to $100,000 is the median salary. That's our students and our children for success. If we invest in those things, we're setting up our community for success. Some notable things, going back to what I just said. Here's a study that said the number of computer-related jobs by 2030 is expected to be 4.7 million jobs. Let's think about that. In 4 years, our graduating class will be 2028. If they graduate this year, 2028. And the following year, when we fully implement more courses, that's 2029. They're going to be part of 4.7 million. And 20% of those jobs will be filled by 4-year degrees. Students who only do 4 years. That's great. That's great news for our students, okay? So what I want to end is a final. I took this quote from Andrew Willis, and it says, the definition of a good mathematical problem is the mathematics it generates rather than the problem it solves. I'm going to basically say, in short, the skills that are created are more meaningful to our students and important than the actual answer that they get. We all learned that the 3 R's in education were reading, writing, and arithmetic. But I pose to you that really the 3 R's for our students here in Glen Cove is relationships, relevance, and rigor. And that's what our teachers, our central office staff, and the board give our students, the ability to create relationships with teachers, relationships with students, relationships with the material at a rigorous level and showing complete relatability to it. I thank you very much. Any questions? I know I hit you with a lot of numbers, but I was just trying to follow Ms. Galante's numbers presentation, so thank you very much.
I just want to say, as a little bit of a math geek myself, truly a wonderful presentation, truly giving us a great perception of what is happening in our classrooms and our districts and how we are preparing students to be college and career ready. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions from the board?
Leah.
Allison, Mr. Allison, don't leave yet.
Okay, Leah's got questions.
Leah?
Oh, oh.
Thank you, that was excellent. My question, I mean, teachers are planners, right? I'm talking elementary specifically now because they just got a new series this year. So they're also magicians, by the way. How has the feedback been with the new, I don't know if you've, you know,
I've been in the buildings.
I'm sure, I don't know if there's been any conversation about, and of course they're constantly going to be comparing to Go Math, and this has this, and Go Math didn't, and this has, you know, all of that stuff. But how do they feel about it so far? They're like 6-7 months in. I know some of them were piloted last year. How's the feeling? What's the feedback?
Great question. So I will tell you, if you asked me the question in September and October, I probably would have been lynched because everybody loved Go Math. even though it had many of its own flaws. As someone who had kids that went through I'm very happy that we did a 3-year program. So this year, working out the kinks, I think next year, once we've fully implemented 100%, the answer I'll come back and tell you is they love it. I'll tell you one thing, as someone who has kids that are in North Belmore and we're using Envisions, this program is much more user-friendly for our students, for our family, and for our teachers, and offers a lot of resources. So I hope that answers the question.
Oh, God, I had a follow-up, but now I can't, well, where I work, we use HMH to math. So
Okay.
I will not make any facial expressions on that one.
I'm sorry if I made
Oh, my
the
question
facial-
was about the district assessments. Are the district assessments right from the book itself, or do you guys?
No, so we started in September and October taking them directly from the book and realized very quickly, directly from the book is 8 questions, which is nothing. It doesn't give us a chance to spiral material. So what the alignment members have done is they've changed assessments, keeping some of the questions and also adding so that we have spiral review built in, and also making the language attainable for our students. Yeah, so we've had to tweak them.
Hi, I want to thank you very much. It was a lot was put into this. I just have a question regarding professional development. Is professional development ongoing with this program now? I know it's not 100% implemented, but across the board, is professional development still happening? Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yes, definitely. So we did have big ideas in the beginning, and what we've realized is they have great professional developers, but we also have great professional teachers here that piloted the program. So we're leaning on the resources of the teachers that had piloted last year, who love it and see the big idea of the program. But yes, they will be coming back in the end of the school year. We do, and we'll have a parent workshop for parents brought to us by Big Ideas. We'll be bringing in trainers to help language barriers so all can learn about Big Ideas. And then we have a 3-year professional development program with them, so they'll be back again in September. Realistically, they're coming in to work with our alignment members for them to turnkey it to the staff. Only because they know our students, they know what our students need, and they know how to make the program work for our students. Yep, no problem.
I don't have a question, but I did want to say, ask anybody who knows me and they'll tell you, I call myself a MIDI. I struggle with math from I can't even remember how far back. And when I say I struggled, I mean I really struggled to the point where there were times where this little girl was in tears trying to do and understand this, that, and the other. And as you were going through your presentation, I found myself being that girl again at various grades, and feeling like, where was this? Where was this? Was in PS 147 and like that. And I really feel like it would have made a difference for me. And that kind of makes me happy, because I feel like for as much as I struggled, if I can sit here now feeling like that would have made a difference for me, that it would most definitely make a difference for the students that are sitting in classrooms now.
Just to chime in with that, you're right. Had this program been around, some of the reluctant math learners we had probably wouldn't be around now, because what this does is it's a splash of color and excitement brought to the pages. It's real stories. It's not talking about making comparison on things that our students aren't doing. Some of the problems talk about going to a bowling alley or going to some of the things that our students participate in the community to reinforce addition, subtraction, comparison. So it makes, and the great thing about the program is there's so much enrichment built in, not for just the struggling learner, but those learners that excel. So a teacher can differentiate very easily with this program because there's so much built in. Okay. Thank you.
Again, Mr. Allison, thank you so very much for your presentation
thank you.
and for your time with our questions.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
And on that note, that is the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Maria. Thank you, Mr. Allison. That was great. Okay, so the student board member is not present, so we're
She
gonna
was
move on.
playing in the girls' basketball game. Did email me to say she is sorry that she is missing tonight's meeting.
We understand. So now we have public participation on agenda items. If anybody has questions or comments from the audience, sign in with Ida, and then when you get to the podium, let us know your name and address. And you have 3 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I just had a question about, Daniel Rios, Hendrick Avenue, Glen Cove. It's been a while. I just had a question from Allison. This program from Big Ideas, how old is it and how long has it been implemented in schools that we could probably research and see a track record on its success? Also, you talk about computer science and digital fluency. That you're trying to get college credit. Is that something that students have to have a prerequisite for, or is it optional?
Mr. Rios, if you can just give the questions to the board, I'm sure Mr. Allison can hear it too, but every time you move your
Okay, my apologies.
face,
my apologies.
it doesn't come over clearly on the microphone, so I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's quite all right. Sorry about that. Yeah, my question really pertains to that. You were talking about professional development and how math can be implemented in a practical sense. So I was just curious on, because sometimes children don't particularly are good at a particular subject to gain themselves access to a course. So that's one of the things I'm curious on. Is there a prerequisite to taking these classes? Yeah, that's pretty much it as far as questions. I hope I made myself clear. And if you can hear me, thank you.
If I can, in regard to college credit and prerequisites for certain courses, please understand that one of the reasons that we provided a 9-period day was for students to have additional opportunities to any prerequisites that are required. They are in our course offerings so that they have a firm basis to be able to challenge, the next level course. Additionally, some courses are without prerequisites, and so students would be able to access those regardless of their previous studies.
Does anybody else have questions or comments for the board? Okay. All right, we'll move on. So next up is instructional report.
Based on the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve Agenda Item 7. On the instructional report, A, Committee on Special Education, and B, Committee on Preschool Special Education.
Can I motion? Maureen and Leah? Questions? All in favor? 7, okay.
Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, a motion is requested for approval of Agenda Item 8, Affairs, A, Finance, 1 and 2.
Can I get a motion? Angela and Ann? Any questions on that? All in favor? 7, all in favor.
On the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, a motion is requested for the approval of Agenda Item 8, Business Affairs, B, Operations, 1 through 13.
Can I get a motion on that? Maureen, Megan, sorry. There's too many names on this board. Sorry, you'll never forgive me. Ann, thank you. Does anybody have questions or comments? I actually have a question about item number 1. It doesn't, I missed it if it's there. How many students are going on this DECA trip that we're potentially approving? Does anybody?
I believe it's 7.
7? Okay.
No, they're going together, middle school and high school. I believe school is 7, and I think there's 20-something going from the middle school.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So it's 27 kids all this one trip with the, okay. Great. All right, that's all I have. All in favor? 7. Okay.
Okay, at this moment, I'd like to thank a number of people our organizations for the donations. First of all, once again, thank you to the Glen Cove Education Foundation. They have provided a donation of $25,000 towards the purchase and installation of a new scoreboard for the new turf field, and I thank them for that. Can't have an old scoreboard with a new field, so I heard. But thank them for that. Also, the board accepts with gratitude a donation of vinyl backing for the Red and Green Games. I know certain people are really dedicated to that particular event, from Ann Markoulis and Angelina Stone to the Glen Cove School District. Thank you for your donation. Also, a donation of sheet music from Sylvie Di Severio to the Glen Cove School District Fine and Performing Arts Department. We thank her for a donation of the sheet music. And I believe there is one more.
There's two more. 6 and 8.
Okay, 3 more. The Booster Club donation is towards equipment for a new scoreboard in the high school gymnasium, and we thank the Booster Club for their efforts in supporting our sports program. That would be $10,000.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And getting to it.
Well, while we're waiting, I'm going to thank Anonymous for book donation.
I'm sorry?
Anonymous, who donated books.
Oh.
I just thought I'd put that in there.
I'm getting to know that anonymous person every year, but we thank them for their support of our students and our students' reading materials. And
Yeah, let's just add, it was about $630 in Women's History Month, so.
Right on.
Thank you,
Thank you very
anonymous
much.
people.
I appreciate all these incredible donations, just reflect the generosity of our community. So thank you very much for that. I'm trying to stall while Maria finds her page. Got it.
Okay. The last one, a thank you to, now this is interesting because this is a donation from teacher, Miss Michelle Martinet at Daisy School. She is the winner of the New York New Classroom Giveaway, sponsored by ECR for Kids. And again, we're able to then utilize $3,000 for flexible seating in the district. And we thank Ms. Martinet for participating, for entering, and again, congratulations to our students for your efforts.
And just to add, I think she was sponsored by her colleague.
Oh.
Right, so it's like a wonderful team effort to, get some new resources for the school.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, moving on to personnel. Mr. DiNapoli.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve Agenda Item 9A certified, numbers 1 through 10.
Can I motion, Willa and Lynn? Any questions on these? All in favor? 7.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, I ask the Board of Education to approve Agenda Item 9B classified, numbers 1 through 11.
Can I get a motion? Leah and Maureen. I almost said Megan. I know. Discussion? All in favor? 7.
I do want to point out that the board has now accepted the retirements for a number of people who have given many, many years of service. If you were to count the years of education, in all of them, you would have over 150 years. And obviously, working at the same time, many of them, but we thank all of the teachers and the clerical for their years of service to the Glen Cove community and more importantly to our children.
Anything else? You all set, Maria?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate all the staff and all their years of service as well. Thank you. Unfinished business, we are doing a second reading of the policy number 8130.2. Oh, yes, it is the second reading. So unless there's any questions or concerns, do I do a motion on this? What is it?
Okay.
Motion? Yeah, motion.
Yeah.
Or are we just voting? Motion?
No.
Okay, motion. So Maureen and Leah, all in favor? 7. Okay, board comments. Does anybody have anything they want to share or talk about this evening? Well, I think that's new business. Oh, I skipped that. I'm sorry. That's why.
It's okay.
Yeah, so new business first. Yes, Megan, you're right. Let's can jump in here.
Oh, yeah, so last night, myself, Maria Venuto, Angela Ramo, we had the pleasure of joining a public hearing at the planning board for the city to, that one of the items on the agenda was the hearing related to a new bank that's being built, or they want to build, across the street from the middle school, and which would change some of the curbing across from the school so that bank would have a ingress and egress right across. They designed it to be right across from the middle school driveway, which of course also services Daisy and the pre-K classrooms that are housed at middle school right now. So this went, Marie and I had the opportunity to speak at the public hearing and basically just express that while there's no issue with the project itself, with the building of the bank and, you know, redeveloping that little plot of land is more fine, in that the issue is that the traffic study that the planning board is relying on and the city's relying on, and that was been supported by the county, really doesn't reflect the reality of how that intersection is used during days where school is in session. The amount of traffic, buses, cars, pedestrians, is just absolutely not reflective of what the traffic study that is being relied on. So we really urged the planning board to just take a second look at this and, you know, maybe just look at it with the view of mornings, all 3 types of school programs happening, afternoons after bus leave, that's students walking and crossing the street, after clubs, after extra help, after sports, etc. And so what came away from it is that the planning board indicated that they would like that it be worthwhile to have a traffic study completed, and ultimately the public hearing was adjourned. And so they'll have to have then the question was posed, would it be another public hearing similar to last night? And it will be. So it's just something the public should be aware of. It'll be out again, and, you know, whatever steps they take next, you know, we'll pay attention to that and see where it goes.
Yeah, I just want to add, the superintendent had offered to, or suggested that maybe a drone, since we have drones we can use.
We do have a drone,
That would actually be a great way
and
to
we were able
see.
to get footage of, and I know that in preparation for your appearance before the board last night, we took some pictures during the dismissals, so that there'd be a better understanding of the traffic in that area.
I did show those photographs. I shared them with the planning board that Lisa took for us.
Yeah,
they
and
were
again,
helpful.
they're just photos, you know, still photos. But we could do some videotaping of the morning, honestly,
Think in
even in the
particular.
afternoon,
Right.
and in the midday, of all the traffic that is coming right now, under the normal circumstances, without any additional building and obstacles, additional traffic, not necessarily the number of cars, but the number of cars moving in different directions.
Exactly. I should say, I wanted to add, I don't think it was clear enough. The issue being is that the traffic study came back saying that no new traffic signal or traffic device is needed at that intersection. And that's, you know, probably needs another look, considering they were not looking at, they were looking at a sliver of time that is, you know, so minor, like you said, compared to the actual usage of that area. So, you know, we'll see what happens.
So we're going to rely on our students who actually control that drone video, and perhaps bring that underway. We could take a couple of days, and so not just one specific day, because honestly, between the dismissal at Daisy, at the arrival and dismissal at Daisy, the arrival on DeSoris Lane for Daisy and how it impacts Forest Avenue, as well as the zero period in the morning, the irregular arrival, and the dismissal of pre-K, and then the dismissal at middle school. In that period of time, I wouldn't want to be on Forest Avenue. And honestly, I don't think the current signal lights are enough for what's happening there. So I think I'm glad to hear that there is a pause in decision-making, and we'll be glad to provide the video that can better explain what's happening there.
I think, truth be told, I think at the second meeting, it's a worthy question to ask if you are making, if you are coming to an area and you know you're right across the street from, or this or that from a school, why would you not specifically look at the traffic in those where you know that dropping off in the morning, picking up in the afternoon? It seems to me that those would be the times that you would look at above and beyond anything else. It's not like they didn't know the school was there. So I think that's, to me, that's a question worth asking, because it begs the question, well, what was your logic? Why would you not look at those high traffic times?
It looked, in my opinion, it seemed like they were looking at such a narrow window of when the school starts, and they didn't consider zero period, and then dismissal was another very small sliver of time. They didn't really consider clubs, after-school activities, the duration it takes for the number of cars to come in and out, the buses to go in and out, because it's not like there's dismissal at 2:45 and then everyone's whoosh, out of there. So it seemed like they didn't give it enough of a window, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't want anyone to be confused with our safety concerns. We have no issue with the bank coming into the area.
No.
And again, our bigger concern is just how it will impact the traffic and the safety of staff and students at that time.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Moving on, does anybody have board comments? Anything they want to share? Upcoming events or anything?
Yeah, I do. Last week was Landing's first play in I don't know how many years, and it was really cute. They did the Jungle Book. The kids did a great job, the teachers and the music and everyone worked really well together. They put on a great performance, and now they're going to Connolly to run their play, which is great to bring it back to the younger kids.
Anybody else? No? Okay. All right, so we have one last public participation opportunity if anybody wants to. Okay. Just do the same thing again, Dan.
While that audience member is taking the podium, I just want to remind everyone that February 13th, we will have Superintendent's Conference Day, and we will not be holding classes for students. And so once again, please be reminded, February 13th will be a Superintendent's Conference Day where students are not expected to attend school. Okay?
Go ahead.
Hello again, Daniel Rios, Hendrick Avenue. I want to take this opportunity to commend the board and everyone that worked on getting new courses to our children, especially within the transition from going 8th grade to 9th grade. I've spoken to a few parents and they're very pleased on the course selection, so I want to thank you for that. Since I'm not on that subject, I want to personally thank the counselors at the middle school for doing a phenomenal job. Ms. Luke, Mr. Molina, and Mr. Sarakis have been, throughout the years, phenomenal Their enthusiasm, their energy, it's greatly appreciated. On that subject, well, actually on another subject entirely different, I wanted to ask, can the board or the administration create a virtual platform for parents to partake in, to speak to the board and the public on a platform at home? I don't have the opportunity to come here as much as I would like, and I think in this day and age would give an opportunity to a lot of parents to be able to speak whatever topics they feel fit to the board and to the community on a digital platform. I think it's something that has been, I don't know how possible that is, but it would be a benefit to our community. There are a couple things that I wanted to mention about our children and the importance and emphasis that should be placed on going outdoors and the health benefits, the mental health and physical benefits of going outdoors for children. I think it's easier for, if I may say, some of the administration in the schools to keep the kids in, to say it's cold or the weather's not quite suitable. I think there needs to be, again, extra emphasis and importance put on the fact that they need to go out, they need to have a little bit of freedom to walk and to clear their minds. There is another topic that I know has been presented to the board about the bathrooms, which I greatly disagree with as far as the bathrooms being locked or only a certain amount of bathrooms being open for the children. I understand that there's a problem. I understand that there's issues that go on in the bathroom, but these are issues that other districts have, and they don't confine the children for not going into the bathroom. I think we should adopt and maybe look Locust Valley, North Shore, Roslyn, you name it, why they don't close bathrooms down. And on cue, I think sometimes the podium needs a little bit more time. There's not a lot of parent participation, unfortunately. I can understand if there's 10 people online, you want to limit the amount of time is spent on someone speaking. But since there isn't, I think we should be allocated a little bit more time to speak our mind about particular topics. And I know I'm going over my time, but one question wasn't answered about how schools have adopted the Big Idea program, and if there's something that we could look at as far as its track record and its success. I know I'm out of time. I did want to say I think there needs to be some type of forum where we can hear children and their input on the things that I just spoke about. Not just a suggestion box, but maybe a suggestion box where administration can be accounted for answering in front of the school so the children could really understand why it is that certain rules are being created and why they aren't allowed to do certain things. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll definitely discuss these things, and I don't know if there's anything you want to respond to now at this time, but
Again, there are guidelines as far as when we can go out, but we do like to see our students during recess and during PE. I know that part of the new platform at the high school, as far as new tennis courts and area over in that area, as well as the track and field, we've already spoken to the Director of Athletics to enhance participation of those areas as part of the PE format. And again, we're looking at other areas in the elementaries and middle school as well. In regard to some of these other items, the board does have to come together to determine whether or not changes are necessary and options are available, for example, for the virtual platform, and for the time allotted during the board meeting. At this point in time, it is in our policy, and so it would have to be a review of the policy of the general split of a board meeting for that to be discussed and changed. And there is provisions by which that can happen. In regard to student input, I must say that I do enjoy meeting with students when they're seniors at a senior luncheon right before Thanksgiving. It is amazing, and I've had some board members sit in on this over the years. The input from students has absolutely impacted some of the changes we've seen and experienced over the last 10 years. Just getting their input on what they've experienced, whether they have come from kindergarten all the way through, or whether they were new arrivals at one point during their educational experience. Even more importantly, after they graduate, coming back at Christmas time, right before the winter break, so that they provide us an understanding of how better we can prepare students for the options that they have upon graduation, whether they are college or career focused. So again, other opportunities for that in other grade levels, I think are a very important part of seeing from a student's perspective how we can make things better and make change, and also explain why certain rules, certain procedures are in place. But other items, I'm sure, are discussions within the board, and we can get back to you.
Do we have an answer for Mr. Lewis regarding the math question, whether districts utilizing big ideas?
Mr.
Or is that
Alice,
something you want to get back to?
do you want to do that now, or would you like to address this at a later date?
Sure, I would like some time to just address the other local districts that do use. There are local districts in Long Island that use it. The program has been around for a number of years. It has been used in other states as well. It has alignment from the West Coast all the way to Florida to the Northeast.
There have been upgrades too, based
Yes.
on the new generation,
Yes.
the next generation standards as well.
I'd like just some time to reach out to my local counterparts to see what their impact is and
I
be
think
able to
that's
get-
fair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
And although we don't have any platform to talk with us during a meeting, you can email us anytime. cboe@glencoveschools.ed.org. And someone will get back to you. It's, we all would get that, so, thank you.
Anything else? Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank Glen Cove TV for streaming our meeting as usual. And and can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting? Ann and Megan, all in favor? Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you.